Gaikwad, and so I am having 4 years of overall IT experience, application development, and particularly for the .NET, I am having 2.5 years of experience for developing ASP.NET application as well as the desktop applications with C# and VB. And for the database part, I am having MS SQL Server 2008 R2 edition, and for my SQL, I'm using 5.8 up till now.
Okay. What is the recent project you have done?
So we have already done some kind of a project, just like admission management system for the local clients, and there are some lottery kind of applications over also there.
So, what is the role in that application? Your role?
Yeah. 1 second, sir. 1 second. Yeah. Please.
What is the role in that application? What you have developed in that application?
In that application, I was using entity framework for the data accession part with the connection with the ASP.NET Windows Form application, ASP.NET Form application, and particularly I was using Bootstrap with it for the CSS framework, and in the background we have 2008 edition of Microsoft SQL Server.
Okay. So why we have to use entity framework? Why can't use ADO.NET?
Actually, entity framework directly gives actually it is some kind of connectionless protocol handling over it. It is directly get communicated. There is no need to create the connection as of ADO.NET. Always requires the connection, then close connection for the manipulation or the getting communicated with the data set itself. So the entity framework does not need to that much of critical task to handle each and every time. It will automatically manage by the entity framework itself.
So in entity framework, which approach you will follow?
Sorry, sir?
In entity framework, which approach you will follow for database connecting?
For regarding of entity framework?
Yeah.
We have used 4.4, I guess 6.1, sorry, 6.1.
No. I'm saying which approach. I mean, like code first approach, database first approach.
Database actually, sir. Itself database.
So how you will connect the database through database approach?
Yeah. While getting while connection to data set, by using the entity framework, we just need to add the data model for the entity available library in the .NET case available in the Visual Studio actually, and it automatically prompts me to get connected with the data set. So if I'm using the local database, it will ask me to select the data set within the application or the service-based database we have, or we can directly communicate with the data server, which will be our local host or might be the remote server one. So only the authentication part is required for that. And afterwards, we directly manage getting the connection to the data table through which we can directly have that access. So after clicking on the finish, so it will automatically create some kind of a views over there to get to perform the CRUD operations.
Okay. Can you tell me entity objects?
Sir, can you please say it aloud because your voice is too low to getting understanding.
Entity object.
Entity object. Yeah. Okay. Entity object. Entity object. Actually, entity object are just like some kind of ORM modeling form. We can create some kind of entities to what we can say specified entity object are the we can have the entity framework and the database itself on the database layer.
Okay, what is object set?
Sorry, sir.
Object set.
Object set. Setter.
Set.
Sorry, your voice is. I said that your voice is.
Yeah, what is object set?
Okay, object set. Object set in an ASP, we are considering object set offering us to create some object of the entities for this particular class, which can be extended from the system.data.objects, and which generally represent the set or entity set actually that to be performed some kind of a CRUD operation. So in this case, we can consider that object set is a kind of a template engine, which creates some class objects. Yeah, some class object. We can consider it as a class object. It can be considered as an object entity set. Yes.
Can you tell me entity framework architecture?
Sorry, sir.
Entity framework architecture.
Okay, entity framework architecture. Okay. Entity framework architecture, particularly having what we can say, there are 4 levels at that stage, through which we can directly concern with first of all the UI, on which the data is going to be rendered. We can consider this as UI view. Then the business layer, where we can directly consider the business entities and the domain classes. Then at the third level, we can have entity framework views for our application. And below that, the database object itself is present.
Okay, what is mapping model?
Mapping.
Yeah, mapping model.
Okay. Actually, mapping model, we can consider it as what we can say, mapping model. Let me recall it actually. Mapping model. Actually, some kind of consideration of having, the relationships among the source and target schemas. So, on which we can perform some kind of a transformation, sorting of methods, then join conditions, then sometimes it can consider as annotations as well.
Okay. So coming to link here, what is the let class and where clause?
Sorry, sir, I didn't hear again.
Let clause and where clause.
Where clause.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where clause particularly looks for a condition, we can say. In a particular query, we can have generally where clause in linking we can consider to specify which element from the data source will be written in the query expression.
Okay. What is to dictionary and enumerable?
What is the difference between enumerable and dictionary?
No, to dictionary and enumerable.
No, sir, sorry.
Okay, fine. So, do you work on ASP.NET, right?
Yeah.
So, like one scenario I will tell you. I have a page is there. In that
Okay.
page, I have to display 1 lakh records. Okay.
Yes.
Backend have 1 lakh records. Then, if I want to display 1 lakh records, that page load will happen more.
Yes.
So response, it's not that much faster. So if I want to, which means analyze and reduce the performance to increase the performance to show the details, what you can do?
Okay. First of all, at the control part, we get the information from the data set itself and put that information in a record. And while rendering the view, we can simply pass the record object over there, and at the page level, we can directly access the model itself, which have already been passed from the controller, and it will automatically reduce our timing for getting higher performance for that.
So you will take 1,000 records at a time, 1 lakh records from DB.
Yeah, sir. Yes. Yes.
So DB time, it will every time you are calling 1 lakh records is time taken, right?
No. Actually, we can directly map to the our view side. We can have directly consideration to look the values inside of the returned object up till now, up till the 1 lakh record. We have just our upper conditions. So it will automatically render that information then. And to reduce that information, we can also use the pagination as well.
So if I call from DB 1 lakh record, how much time it will take?
No idea, sir, actually.
Yeah, you are telling at a time you will call 1 lakh records from DB. It will take more time, right?
Yes.
Then how you will avoiding that?
Yeah, we can have some kind of a search query optimization over this scenario. But while when we are going to rendering on the page, it will taking some time to render that information as well. Not that much, but we can simply optimize the query while we are getting the information.
While page nation only, page index only, if you send to DB, then you can handle it, right? That case.
Yes.
Okay. So one more case, like you have hosted one application in the server. Okay. Then while you're testing and developing that, whatever you developed, that feature is working fine. After
Mm.
it's hosted, then whatever you developed, it's not showing in that application. It's showing, but error it's coming on that page. Then how you would resolve that problem in that case?
For such kind of scenario, actually, we can see the logs while we are getting the information in the log file, and we can directly consider what is the exact exception or error occurred over there. So I can manipulate after the error after the seeing that error why exactly it is occurred.
Where you can store the logs?
We can simply store the log at the server side.
How you will implement the log in ASP.NET?
We can have the file management systems as well. So we can directly as the file system to access or to create the file system. We can directly manage the log as well.
So the log file, which format you will store?
Sorry, sir?
The log file, which format you will store?
For external storage purpose, we can have options for the storing. We can save normal text document, or we can have the .log file. And for some kind of other perspection, number of developers directly used the tracking over the insertion and deletion insertion part with the data set while maintaining the log in the database table as well.
Okay. So you have worked on MVC also, right? Hello?
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Yes.
You have worked on MVC also?
Yes, sir. MVC2 architecture.
MVC4, MVC5 have not at work.
Not up to date, but I have some theoretical study over it. I just need to go to perform some kind of hands on it. So you can ask me. I will answer as far as my knowledge.
How you handle the session in MVC?
Sir, there is a variable or there is a kind of class available to maintain the session and proceeded with available with the subscript method, in which we can directly store the session values by using some kind of variables. And for example, session class subscript method, and I'm going to save my email, so I'm providing some kind of an email variable there inside of double inverted comma, and after the storing that part, to store that part, we can simply assign the value by using the equal to sign.
Okay.
Yeah, so my session will automatically get maintained at this stage.
What is view by view data and temp data?
Sorry, sir. View data and
View bag and temp data.
no, same data is not. I have gone through.
Okay. So can you tell me MVC life cycle?
MVC life cycle, no? Yeah. Actually, in MVC life cycle, we actually define we can have a request life cycle which can be executes or which can be start after the application execution, and we can have request life cycle as routing methods, then route handlers, and controllers which can be used for input output systems. Then after the controller factory or controller initialization, we can have the action execution as well. Accordingly, action binding there, some kind of filters for their action results are also there. In the results, we can have directly result execution part, and afterward which will be returned to the view. And at the request life cycle, we can manage that part from the end user, how the request is going to the server. That can be handled through the process request init method, and in this area handler processes that request by executing the controller, and dependency resolver resolves that problem if occurs, and some kind of activator over there, and again it will be giving to the server for some kind of factory which we have already in the request into the request lifecycle.
Okay. So you have worked on SQL also, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
You have worked on SQL?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have also worked on SQL.
What is cursor?
SQL Server R2 edition and MySQL as well I have already worked.
Sorry?
SQL Server 2008 R2 edition I have used, and MySQL.
Okay. What is cursor?
Constraint.
Cursor.
Okay, cursor. Okay. In our case, simply we can consider a cursor is a kind of a pointer which points to the record while we are going to select the information. It holds one or more records while we are getting what we can say in the program or at the backstage of the program controller.
What is log?
Sorry, sir. Log.
Lock. L-O-C-K.
Okay. Log. Sorry, sir. I haven't used it up to yet.
Okay. Can you tell me dense rank?
Dense rank. I guess it provides us some record numbers available in hashing techniques or some kind of partition of the records, I guess. Yeah, it is dense records, dense stack rank we can have, just like row number or assign a rank number, we can have it.
Okay. Okay, I done with my interview. Do you have any questions? Hello?
Yes, sir.
I have done with my interview. Do you have any questions?
No, sir. No, sir. No question from my side.
Okay, your name is Vivek, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I will connect you back. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes.